This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Monday, December 14th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, an historic event as the coronavirus vaccines are being rolled out across the country as health experts hope this is the turning point in the battle against the disease that has now killed nearly 300,000 Americans. Also today, the members of the Electoral College are set to meet across the country as they'll cast their ballots for Joe Biden. But President Trump and many of his supporters say it is still not over. The biggest porn site on the internet facing increasing criticism and pressure amid calls for it to be shut down. And what is your purpose in life? We're going to hear what actress Candace Cameron Bure has to say about that extremely important subject. All those stories and more are ahead in today's edition of CBN Newswatch. I want to begin this half hour with the historic rollout of the first coronavirus vaccine produced by Pfizer. It is first to be approved by the Food and Drug Administration. 3 million doses in freezers, keeping the vaccine at the required minus 70 degrees Celsius. That is minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit. In the Midwest, Chicago's Rush University Hospital will vaccinate its 12,000 employees in the bays you see there. Other large hospitals like Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles, a major West Coast vaccination center chosen because of their ultra-cold storage freezers and the vulnerability of the frontline staff.
Healthcare workers, we get it. We have to fight. This is a battle.
This is all happening as America sees some 300,000 COVID deaths and record infections with the vaccine rolling out. One expert compared it to D-Day, not the end of the war, but the beginning of a long-awaited turnaround. Turnaround indeed. Medical reporter Lorie Johnson joins us now with more. So we see healthcare workers are getting the first vaccine. Who else will get it?
So this is phase one of the rollout, and it consists of two groups, from healthcare workers and nursing home residents. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said he believes every nursing home resident will get vaccinated by Christmas. Can you believe it? And healthcare workers have already, so both of these groups in the phase one rollout will be offered the vaccine. So someone will be approaching them and saying, hey, we have the vaccine. Do you want it? For example, my son works at a hospital, a major hospital, and he has already been contacted by his employer. They said, hey, the vaccines are going to be here starting on this Thursday, the 17th. You can sign up. And so they gave sign up times for people. So that's what's going on now in the phase one rollout.
Speaking of signups for them, how does the average person get in line, if you will, to get the vaccine? Do they ask their doctor? How does that happen? Right.
So that's a great question because, as I just mentioned, the phase one rollout, people will be approached. So right now, nobody needs to do anything. Phase two is going to be people who have these comorbidities. We've talked about these many times over the last few months. Comorbidities are these underlying conditions. People who have comorbidities have a greater chance of being hospitalized and dying from COVID. And the more comorbidities you have, the greater risk you have. So what are comorbidities? The number one comorbidity is age. So if you're a senior citizen, then you're part of the phase two rollout. Also obesity. So you can still be young, but if you're obese, that puts you at high risk. Diabetes, lung issues, autoimmune diseases, and so forth. So how do these people get their vaccines? What you need to do is contact your doctor. And what's going to happen is you're going to go to the CVS or the Walgreens, and but you're going to need something sort of like a prescription. So in other words, your doctor needs to call them or vouch for you before you can go in. We know that right now, if you want a flu shot, for example, you just walk in and say, hey, give me one. But with the coronavirus vaccines, at first anyway, you're going to need a doctor to vouch for you. Alex Azar, the Health and Human Services Secretary, says he believes 100 million people will get vaccinated by the end of February. That's almost a third of the U.S. population.
The FDA commissioner says it is a significant problem that many Americans don't plan to get vaccinated. Why is that an issue? Well,
what we need is herd immunity to really wipe this out. And herd immunity is 70% of the population. But the good news, Ephraim, is a lot of people are changing their minds, and there's every reason to think that the people who are hesitant will come around. For example, last Tuesday, a Gallup poll showed that 63% now say they want it. And that's higher than it was before, and it keeps getting higher. And when people start seeing leaders others, people they love and trust, get their vaccines, whether it's in their personal life or celebrities, they're more likely to do so. For example, President Obama is encouraging people to get their vaccine, and when he does it on camera, which he said he will do, that likely might change minds. Think about somebody like Beyonce who might get her vaccine, how many people she could influence. We know that President Bush, President Carter, President Clinton, and of course President Trump all plan to get their vaccines on camera. Beth Moore, who is a leader in the Christian community, she said she's going to get her vaccine on camera. So, and when we know our friends and neighbors do it, it'll probably catch on.
Indeed. We will likely see Moderna's vaccine approved soon as well. What's the difference between that and Pfizer?
This is going to be a great thing. So Moderna is probably going to be approved this Thursday or Friday. So we're going to be seeing it roll out next week. Moderna does not have to be kept in the super freezing cold temperatures, and it doesn't need a special freezer. It only needs to be kept at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, and any freezer can get that low. And after you take it out of the freezer, it can stay in the refrigerator for a month.
All right, Lorie Johnson, thank you so much for your insight. Much appreciated.
Sure.
The members of the Electoral College are scheduled to meet across the United States today to cast their ballots for the next president. And while Joe Biden is certain to win, President Donald Trump insists the battle is still not over. Adele Hurt is on this story for us.
Donald Trump is pressing forward in his bid to overturn the election results on the basis of fraud, but his efforts continue to hit a stone wall. In the 5 weeks since Election Day, the president and his allies have lost by one count nearly 50 cases in court, including the Supreme Court's refusal Friday to hear the Texas case over election irregularities. In a tweet, the president said the court chickened out.
No judge, including the Supreme Court of the United States, has had the courage to allow it to be heard.
But the president says it's not over.
No, it's not over. We keep going, and we're going to continue to go forward. We have numerous local cases where, in some of the states that got rigged and robbed from us.
And one Republican senator says news coverage now of a Justice Department investigation into Hunter Biden's taxes after a virtual news blackout of corruption allegations before the election shows the media interfered in the election.
The media is in the tank for the Democrats, social media. I mean, the level of suppression and censorship just proves how the mainstream media and social media have a far greater impact in terms of interfering with our elections.
And Senator Ron Johnson will be holding hearings into election irregularities later this week. The Electoral College votes today in state legislatures across the nation, but in Michigan, the State House will be closed during the vote because of what officials describe as credible threats of violence. Joe Biden's transition team says he will address the nation tonight. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
A prayer march took place in Washington, D.C. Saturday, where participants rallied for America's election system to be free from fraud and corruption. As Paul Strand now reports, like similar rallies in state capitals, it was known as a Jericho March.
These folks are imitating what they see in the book of Joshua. Joshua's army marched around the city of Jericho 7 times. That's why they're out here marching around the Supreme Court 7 times.
We're Joshua's, and we need a sound of praise to bring down the walls of the swamp.
These marchers believe if America's elections can't be trusted, it's no longer a country by the people.
We want America to remain free, as it always has been.
And they made clear where they believe the country needs to turn. Sisters Susan Rolls and Julia Bithorn say it'll take divine help.
Without God, it's impossible.
If man can do it, why do we need God?
He is going to win the battle.
So speakers like the recently pardoned Michael Flynn said not to be discouraged by events like the Supreme Court rejecting the Texas lawsuit against election irregularities.
So whatever the ruling was yesterday, like I've seen a lot of other people who I know, everybody take a deep, deep breath.
Tens of thousands of the marchers then gathered on the National Mall, while some 5 million people watched the live stream.
Joshua was told to do something crazy, but we know when God tells us to do something crazy, it means it's going to work.
Former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann joined via video.
We come in faith believing that a miracle is about to take place in the United States.
Your instinct might be to get discouraged because the miracle prayer didn't get answered the way you thought it would. What I'm here to tell you is you're the privileged generation that is called to endure the contradiction along with Donald Trump and see America restored.
These folks who've already seen several defeats in their efforts to ensure election integrity know more than ever it's going to take God, it's going to take a miracle. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Jericho March outside the U.S. Supreme Court.
Coming up, the world's largest pornography website coming under fire, facing intense criticism and now financial pressure amid calls for it to be shut down. We're going to explain what's going on with that story when we come back. Stay with us.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
It is the largest pornography site on the internet, but now it is facing growing problems. Here to tell us about what is happening is Dan Andros of FaithWire.com. Dan, tell us about the site and the New York Times column that created so many problems.
Yeah, well, the site is, as the name would indicate, is an X-rated pornographic website that operates kind of like how a YouTube would operate. It allows users to just post their own content, and then the website in turn then profits over any views or any clicks that content then receives. But they've been accused of not policing this very well at all. And they've had accusations levied against them of hosting child sexual exploitation videos, as well as footage of rape and coerced sexual engagement with unwitting girls and women who didn't even know they were being videotaped for these purposes. So, I mean, all of it, obviously, without the illegal activity, is disgusting in and of itself. But the fact that it's this kind of perverse and twisted and demented content is just it puts this website on a whole different level.
FaithWire's talked to activists who've taken on this site, like Layla Mickleway. Tell us about what she's doing.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention the New York Times piece there, Ephraim. I'll go back to that real quick. It was by Nicholas Kristof of the New York Times, and it was called The Children of Pornhub. But he really didn't pull any punches on this and just painted a really just stark picture of what's happening on this website. So that really put the spotlight and got things going. Lila, as you mentioned, has been shining the spotlight as well. She works for a group called Exodus Cry, which is an advocacy organization that seeks to end sexual exploitation and trafficking. And they have had a petition going now for some time to have the site Pornhub taken offline. And she's accused them of profiting, quote, from crime scenes. And so she told us that now they have evidence of this. And, from all the research they've been doing, they found that a case in late 2019, a man from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was arrested when investigators discovered he had uploaded nearly 60 videos of a missing underage teenage girl to a verified account on Pornhub. So they're starting to make the connection and show actual illegal activity and not just say, well, this looks bad. They're starting to have the proof, and so the momentum is really there to have this campaign get some action.
It's my understanding that MasterCard will not allow users to use that card to purchase anything there. Is that a blow to the site?
It is, and it's the latest because PayPal had previously announced that they were not going to do business with the site in any way, shape, or form. And PayPal or Pornhub talked about how, well, what are we going to do? We're not going to be able to pay these, they said over 100,000 workers. That gives you the scope of this website. 100,000 people uploading content to the site that they weren't going to be able to pay. So yeah, it makes it difficult. It's one less avenue they have to have financial transactions going on. Obviously, MasterCard, one of the biggest. So yeah, it's another hurdle in the road for Pornhub. And so if you're looking for that site to not be accessible especially because of what they're doing with the illegal activity, this is a step in the right direction.
A well-known actor tweeted a message against the site. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's Terry Crews. He's perhaps best known from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's a face that you would know from several supporting roles, but he himself has been open about how porn has basically destroyed his own life and his own relationships in his life, and so he has been supportive of Lila's petition that has over 1.5 million signatures, and he on social media just was short and concise, but a powerful message. Just said it's time to defund Pornhub.
All right, Dan Andros of FaithWire.com. I want to let you know that you can hear more about important issues in today's culture on FaithWire. You can watch tonight at 8:30 Eastern on the CBN News Channel. Still ahead, the #1 threat to the United States and the world, China. That is the warning from the U.S. Director of National Intelligence. We will take a look at China's plans for global domination right after this.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
If you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Protect your sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
Welcome back to CBN Newswatch. Economic, military, and political domination, all part of China's plans to be the top power in the world. And America is in its crosshairs, from Chinese spies courting U.S. politicians for intelligence to aggressive propaganda on college campuses. So who is sounding the alarm that China is now the #1 security threat to the United States? George Thomas has the story.
The warning from the head of America's national intelligence was unprecedented, as it was clear and unequivocal. China and its communist government pose the greatest threat to democracy and the free world since World War II. John Ratcliffe, director of national intelligence, wrote in a recent Wall Street Journal editorial that China is America's #1 national security threat, and that Beijing intends to dominate the rest of the planet economically, militarily, and technologically. Michael O'Hanlon is with Brookings Institute.
It is the way a great power with a non-democratic government chooses to seek to extend its influence worldwide.
Ratcliffe accuses China of deploying what he calls a rob, replicate, and replace approach in its ambitions to dominate the world.
It's been well known for decades that China tries to copy the industry of other countries and then takes it to scale, makes it more efficient, and largely operates, sort of built its way up through the global economic ranks with that approach.
China's foreign ministry dismisses Ratcliffe's claims while accusing Washington of unnecessarily playing the China threat.
The relevant article with its sensational title does not present any solid evidence at all. It offered nothing new but repeating the lies and rumors to smear China.
CBN News has documented China's rise for more than 2 decades. Fast forward to 2020 as we examine how China's President Xi Jinping has been massively overhauling the country's military, economy, and political influence as part of his great rejuvenation project.
Which, to put it into sort of Trumpian terms, means to make China great again.
Tom Miller documents China's rise in the book China's Asian Dream, Empire Building Along the New Silk Road. Miller says since taking the reins, Xi has been on a trajectory of preparing China to be the world's dominant power.
And under Xi Jinping, China has been very, very deliberately trying to realize its kind of ambition to become the global superpower.
Chinese scholars say it's also part of Xi's deep belief that his country has a divine right to rule the world.
The mandate of heaven is from China's imperial past, where Chinese emperors believed that they not only had the right, but they were compelled by heaven to rule the world. And there's this notion of tianxia, or all under heaven.
One way is by military force. As commander-in-chief of the world's largest fighting force, Xi has remade China's People's Liberation Army, or PLA, into a military rapidly closing the gap on U.S. firepower. The Pentagon revealing for the first time that China now has the world's largest navy and plans to double its nuclear warhead arsenal in this decade, which includes ballistic missiles that can reach the United States.
It is likely that China will seek to build a military that is equal to, or in some cases superior to, the U.S. military or the military of any other great power that China perceives as a potential threat.
O'Hanlon says China's capabilities in emerging technologies such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and next-generation technology and telecommunications now rival that of the United States.
If we used to be ahead of China by, half a lap on the proverbial track, now we're ahead by maybe a few strides. And China is maybe even closing the gap further as we go.
Ratcliffe insists that resisting China's ambitions of becoming an economic, military, and technological superpower will be the challenge of our generation, and warns that America should prepare for an open-ended period of confrontation with Beijing. George Thomas, CBN News.
Coming up, actress Candace Cameron Bure talking about why it's important to know what your real purpose in life is. We're going to hear from her when we come back. Stay with us.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crabb Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, you know, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
Actress Candace Cameron Bure has some powerful advice when it comes to life. Establish yourself in God and in truth. Speaking recently on the Lucas Miles show, she said, you have to know why you want to do something in life.
You have to ask yourself, what's your purpose? What's the purpose? And it kind of sounds similar to the why, but let me go a little bit deeper, because when I think of my purpose, I'm thinking about my life purpose. My life purpose as a Christian is to glorify God in all I do.
Knowing purpose, she said, can help people set boundaries. Now, you can see that entire interview at cbnnews.com. Time now for your Monday Motivation, and today I leave you with this thought. Heartbreak is sure to happen in life, but take comfort knowing this: God is near to the brokenhearted, and He brings with Him an overwhelming peace that exceeds all understanding. Think of His presence as a warm comforter on your bed, and then I encourage you to allow yourself to be wrapped in that comfort. With that word, I encourage you to make today a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to do that on purpose. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. We thank you so much for watching. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. We would love to hear from you. Again, thank you for joining us on this Monday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. God bless.